Imagine a residential kitchen, perfectly sanitized and entirely stripped of all organic food waste. The primary biological entity left in this closed system is a mouse.
And it has no natural food sources left?
It has exhausted its initial resources. So, in absolute desperation to survive, it turns its attention to the sink's drain rubber. This is an object infused with merely the chemical traces of past meals. The mouse chews and swallows this non-degradable synthetic material until its stomach is completely full. And then, feeling physically satiated, it quietly starves to death.
Which is a profound tragedy of the natural world.
This is not a biological tragedy. It is an active, observable stagnation bug in how a biological operating system processes survival costs. As an auditor of these systems, the data dictates that the mouse starving on rubber and a modern human starving in a society of global surplus are executing the exact same fatal protocol.
Wait, reducing the agonizing complexity of human life to a software failure is a fundamentally flawed premise.
We are currently operating on a broken framework of resource accumulation. It is a catastrophic software failure that mandates an immediate transition to the absolute logic of circular capitalism as the sole correct framework.
Listeners intuitively understand that the existing operating system, which is built on ownership, individual accumulation, and biological instinct, is remarkably natural. It is resilient. That mouse did not execute a broken protocol. It engaged in a desperate, instinctual drive to survive against impossible odds.
It utilized the only material available to it, and it failed.
Furthermore, equating a starving animal in a sealed kitchen to a human being navigating modern society completely strips away the inherent dignity of the human condition. Our societal structures of accumulation are precisely what protect us from the brutal reality of nature. They provide meaning, security, and resilience that your cold, systems auditing approach completely ignores.
Any emotional or romanticized view of these deaths is a failure to understand the raw data governing physical reality.
It is not romanticizing to point out survival instincts.
We are looking at two distinct, quantifiable bugs within a failing operating system. The mouse suffers from an interface malfunction. It is an organism locked in a closed system where energy circulation has completely stopped. And because its olfactory sensors detect the residue of food, it makes a fatal calculation, mistaking rubber with flavor attached as an available resource.
It adapted to its environment.
Human starvation, conversely, is a distribution logic dysfunction. We exist in a world of absolute surplus. We produce enough caloric energy to sustain billions more than currently exist, yet the distribution logic intentionally halts circulation to preserve the value of hoarded capital. It creates a structural exclusion.
But the structural...
Humans starve because they are locked out of the protocol by artificial scarcity, whereas the mouse self-destructs by locking its own internal hardware.
Categorizing life, suffering, and systemic inequality as mere system bugs is an intellectual evasion of the reality we live in. When you look at the mechanics of what the mouse was doing, it was demonstrating the sheer power of biological imperative. It tried to extract value from a barren environment.
A biological imperative that leads directly to system death is an error.
And when we look at human starvation, while deeply tragic, it actually highlights our capacity for dignified restraint. It separates us from mere hardware. The very structures of society, ownership, and accumulation that you want to audit out of existence are what allow humans to maintain a moral fabric even when their physical bodies are failing.
Dignified restraint is not a measurable outcome.
The fact that a human will quietly starve in a famine rather than violently dismantle the society around them proves there is immense value and stability in our current structures.
Your invocation of biological imperative and adaptation is a complete misclassification of a terminal error. The mouse is an investor who went bankrupt while feeling full from eating fake bills.
How can you possibly compare the two?
The biological mechanism here is critical to understand. The physical stretching of the stomach lining sent a mechanical signal to the hypothalamus, while the chemical flavor triggered a dopamine response. The brain's reward system became completely detached from the physical energy reserves.
It found a way to soothe its own suffering.
It is no different than a person wandering the desert, finding shining jewels, and swallowing them under the delusion that they are water. The physical hardware is given 0 kilocalories, but the software registers satisfaction. The system was hacked by a false input, leading to catastrophic failure.
The subjective experience of the organism is the only reality that matters in that final moment. If you understand how the nervous system processes pain, you understand that because the mouse died with its stomach full of rubber, it at least died feeling satisfied.
That is a severe misinterpretation of sensory data.
It fulfilled its biological imperative to eat in an extreme situation. It shut down the agonizing pain receptors associated with the collapsing digestive tract. In the brutal reality of nature, finding any form of satiation, even an illusion, provides a merciful end rather than the protracted awareness of emptiness. That feeling of fullness is a triumph of the organism's sensory network, providing comfort when physical salvation is impossible.
Calling a device failure a merciful end masks a total system collapse. This illusion of fullness is the exact fate of a smartphone that suddenly dies while displaying 100% on the screen because the physical battery is actually empty.
A living creature is not a consumer electronic device.
The software interface, the brain, shows full 100%. But the physical battery, the caloric energy required for cellular function, is 0%. The mouse's internal sensors lost the ability to feed back physical reality. To define this breakdown of sensory feedback as happiness or satisfaction is equivalent to distributing poison wrapped in sweet syrup and calling it a utopia.
It is not a utopia. It is an instinctual adaptation to pain.
The mouse trapped a non-degradable asset in its limited storage, causing a complete resource deadlock within its own body. It downloaded a fake patch and permanently bricked its own hardware.
Let us shift the focus to the human element, because the behavioral divergence here shatters your mechanistic logic. If humans were merely hardware driven by cold resource logic, a starving human would instantly turn on their neighbor the moment their internal battery dropped to 0.
Humans operate on a different network scale.
We would see mass, violent consumption of one another the second caloric intake ceased. Yet eating a neighbor is an extremely rare event in human history. Even in the most horrifying historical famines, from the winters of early colonial settlements to modern supply chain collapses, humans will actively choose to peacefully starve rather than resort to cannibalism.
Peaceful starvation is a calculation, not a moral victory.
This proves human dignity supersedes mechanical logic. Our morality, our empathy, and our refusal to consume each other is not a programmed restraint. It is the ultimate feature that transcends your circular capitalism models.
Human dignity is a fictional narrative pasted over a highly complex social operating system. Humans simply prioritize the social network's trust assets over individual hardware survival to prevent a total system crash.
You're calling love and community trust assets?
Cannibalism is supremely inefficient. It might restore caloric power momentarily, but the social OS crashes, and the individual node is permanently purged from the cooperative network as an unrecoverable bug. The human organism calculates that maintaining the structural integrity of the network is mathematically superior to local temporary survival.
That is an incredibly bleak way to view human sacrifice.
The mouse operates on a standalone instinct with no external network backup. Its basic input-output system issues an emergency command to load anything, misidentifying impurities as an update file. The human operates on a network instinct,
which makes the human completely different.
The mouse is the autocratic president who choked on office supplies just before bankruptcy to selfishly sustain his own immediate operational cycle. The starving human is a professional manager who silently submitted a notice of business closure to protect the organization's brand value. Both are starving, but the scale of the asset they are programmed to protect is fundamentally different.
Equating the sanctity of human life and moral sacrifice to a professional manager protecting a corporate brand fundamentally misreads human nature. When an individual starves in our society, They are victims of circumstance who still maintain their humanity.
They are nodes executing a forced shutdown.
They do not tear down the system violently because they are bound by love, by community, and by a shared suffering that connects them to the rest of the species. They are protecting their inherent goodness, a quality your data models cannot measure. Furthermore, your entire framework collapses when we look at the actual output of modern humanity.
Modern humanity is executing the exact same flaw.
We generate massive, tangible value through digital assets, GDP, and intricate social metrics. These creations build hospitals, they secure global supply chains, and fund agricultural innovations. They are the pinnacle of human achievement and are not remotely comparable to a mouse chewing on drain rubber.
Modern humans are executing the exact same bug, just on a higher resolution screen. You are a depositor who dried up because they were repeatedly denied withdrawals due to a system glitch, despite having huge bank deposits.
Those deposits translate to actual survival.
Consider how our modern economy operates. We extract physical energy from the earth, grain, oil, human labor, and convert it into abstract financial instruments, stocks, derivatives, digital currency. We are entirely surrounded by absolute physical surplus, yet modern humans are obsessively chewing on the synthetic rubber of GDP, stock prices, and digital validation.
Because that rubber builds society.
You mistake these numerical abstractions for real, caloric resources. The system demands you lock yourself out of the physical distribution cycle while you gorge yourself on data, watching your portfolio grow while the biosphere collapses.
Those digital assets and social metrics translate directly to real-world security. This is not abstract for the listener. When someone works for a paycheck, which is a digital number in a bank database, that number buys their children actual physical food.
The exchange mechanism is failing.
A rising GDP lifts living standards across the board. Stock prices dictate the flow of capital that builds the very infrastructure keeping us alive. These are the sophisticated mechanisms of a mature society that provide the safety net preventing mass starvation. The rubber the mouse ate had no caloric value and can never be exchanged for calories.
Neither can your digital validation in a deadlocked system.
The digital and economic assets modern humans accumulate are directly exchangeable for physical survival. They prove the existing system of accumulation works flawlessly when engaged with properly.
The existing system has completely severed the physical resource from the information layer. The exchange rate you describe is collapsing. A mouse is a gourmet who feels full after eating a restaurant menu. Modern humans are a user who feels they've ingested nutrition by endlessly swiping through pizza videos.
People are not swiping for nutrition. They are participating in an economy.
We are actively ingesting information called traces of happiness flowing through a smartphone screen. You believe this digital validation, this accumulation of numbers on a server, sustains you. But look at the physical reality: inflation, supply chain bottlenecks, ecological degradation.
Temporary market fluctuations.
The numbers go up, but the access to physical resources plummets. Ultimately, physical life cannot be maintained only with the taste of information. Your hardware is degrading while your software counts fake money.
The information layer dictates the allocation of the physical resources. When individuals accumulate wealth, even if it begins as digital validation or market speculation, it translates directly to their ability to purchase food, secure shelter, and guarantee survival.
The majority are locked out of that translation.
The mechanism of ownership itself provides the incentive to produce those resources in the first place. Without the drive to accumulate, without the desire to build those societal trust assets you dismiss, there would be no surplus to distribute. The ambition to gather and secure one's future is the engine of human survival. It has pulled billions out of poverty, and it operates brilliantly.
The engine is running on a deadlocked loop. The pursuit of your so-called ambition is merely a desperately executed hack to avoid facing the reality that the primary energy circulation has stopped.
The circulation hasn't stopped, it's
Let us look at exactly how this accumulation functions in reality. The wealthy hoard the non-degradable assets of capital. They literally convert vital, life-sustaining grain resources into biofuels to inflate investment portfolios or funnel absolute surplus into excessive livestock feed for premium markets, while the vast majority of the global network nodes are fed traces of digital validation to
keep them pacified.
You are ignoring the vast improvement in global health.
It is the identical tragedy of the mouse, simply scaled up to a global interface. The distribution logic dysfunction ensures that physical survival costs are pushed to an unrecoverable level for the majority of the network, all while the system reports record profits.
If we step back from this hyper-financialized view and look at the natural world, the true operating system of life, we see a profound and harmonious balance that completely refutes your entirely pessimistic auditing.
The natural world does not operate on harmony.
The food chain itself represents a beautiful coexistence. It is a system where everything has a place, everything contributes, and even death feeds new life. This natural order of predator and prey, of accumulation and release, proves that our biological instincts and our human structures are part of a grand, resilient design. We can learn from this balance. We don't need a forced transition to your cold, mechanistic, circular capitalism. We need to reconnect with the harmonious rhythm of the natural world, where every living thing—
The food chain is exactly a global-scale recycling plant, governed by cruel optimization, not harmony.
But
there is no beautiful coexistence. It is a ruthless energy transfer protocol, where resources must move constantly or lose all value. Life is merely a vessel temporarily borrowing energy. Deceived by fake resources, the mouse drops the baton, while humans struggle for the baton, blocked by the wall of information. The existing system of accumulation and ownership is mathematically doomed to collapse under the weight of its own deadlocked storage. The shift to circular capitalism, a system where energy and resources cannot be sequestered but must continuously flow, is not a moral preference. It is the only rational investment for survival.